Hi everyone and welcome to my song-by-song review of Utada Hikaru's new album, Hatsukoi. If you don't want to get too spoiled about the album before you listen to it, I would recommend listening to my main review, then coming back to this one later on. Anyway, as always, remember that this is simply my opinion on those songs, and if you enjoy this video, don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more. So here we are, let's talk about the songs from this album, one by one. So obviously the first three songs from Hatsukoi, Play a Love Song, Hanata, and Hatsukoi, I made videos about them a while ago, so if you want to know my full opinion on them, I would recommend checking the videos out. However, I will say this about these songs and their order in the album. I like the fact that Play a Love Song is the opening. It echoes many albums of Hiki that have done the same, where you get a strong, playful pop song as an opening. And honestly, I wouldn't have this song anywhere else but at the beginning of this one. Then we got Anata, which is still such a sweet and lovable song. It's so uplifting, and just like when it came out, I still adore this one. Then there's Hatsukoi, and again, I'm only repeating myself here because I've been raving about this song a lot, but I love it. This is becoming one of my favorite ballads from Hiki, and even a month later, I'm still not over it, and it always gives me chills. And now we are getting into the nitty-gritty with Chikai. We've heard of it because the song is the theme song of the video game Kingdom Hearts 3, and Hiki's most famous songs outside of Japan are the songs used for these video games. I personally never played the game, so I only ever enjoyed these songs without the video game attachment. But I can relate to how a song's emotional response can be linked to characters and stories, and Chikai definitely contributes to be quite an emotional ballad. And even after Hatsukoi, the song manages to be quite impactful. Not only because it has amazing harmonies amplifying the choruses, but the lyrics in Japanese are quite interesting. Hiki will sometimes suddenly speed up the way she sings, almost like she's rapping, but not really. And the final minute of the song adds a low bass line that really makes the song evolve into such a powerful one until the final notes are simply played by the piano to end the song. And lyrics wise, I really like the change of rhythm. It takes you by surprise almost because you don't expect her to suddenly speed up like that. And I'm really curious to hear the English version when it will come out, to see how she shaped the English version to maybe reflect that as well. Forevermore, once again, there's a video in the description that I made last year about the song, and my opinion on it, generally speaking, hasn't changed much, but I do like the song as part of the album, and it grew on me a lot actually thanks to it being part of the album. Like every time I listened to the album, I was like, oh yeah, Forevermore fits really well, and I actually quite like it there. There's another new song called Too Proud featuring Javon. And this is the first song of the album where I was like, I really don't know how I feel about it. And it's not so much the lyrics or the singing, which I actually really like, but more like the melody that I find to be a bit strange. There's a lot of noises, lots of experiments, and I think this song really embodies the boldness of Hatsukoi. Even if the melody isn't too much of my thing, I do enjoy the lyrics quite a lot. As always, Hiki alternates between the Japanese pronunciation of the word proud and the English version of it, and the lyrics are actually quite interesting. It's a little bit like Ore no Kanojo from Phantom. There's a conversation between two people, and this time I assume the male counterpart is the part where Javon raps, and I really love this flow. It really adds to the song, and the lyrics are also very fascinating to me. And I'm not sure how much Javon was involved in the lyric writing here, but I like the fact that it reflects Hiki herself as a songwriter. She often adds some bold lyrics throughout her career, and there are lines in there that And may I dare say there are some lyrics in there that I find might be for some people a little bit more controversial, depending on how you feel about that kind of stuff on a personal level. Good Night is among my favorite songs of this album. I love how soft and simply just beautiful the song is. Even Hiki's singing is so soft and warm. And I love how the pre-choruses get the drums going, and especially the guitar during the choruses. It really adds some intensity to the song, and it keeps escalating until you get the violins involved as well. And the song for me really shines because when there's only the guitar and Hiki's voice, it's really powerful, and the final part of the song is a combination of all of those instruments together into some sort of very pure harmony that almost feels like the musical equivalent of a firework. Pakuchi no Uta is, I believe, the second song of this album that might really polarize people on it, because it is quite some good old-fashioned Hiki song, which is about cilantro, the plant. Now, I never eaten anything with cilantro in it, but just from the lyrics, it's not without reminding me of Boku wa Kuma, as it feels like a soft children's song, and I do appreciate that. It's a little bit silly at times, especially the choruses that are literally the repetition of the word pakuchi over and over, and what I'm most interested about is how this song even happened. I mean, what went through Hiki's mind to create it? I'm really curious about the how and the why, although the song itself is alright. It's a bit like Boku wa Kuma. You gotta get into it and accept the silliness, which isn't easy for everyone, and that's perfectly understandable. I'm not even sure myself that I will listen to the song that much. Nokoriga is the final and third song of this album that I couldn't quite get into. It almost feels too serious at times in its melody between the organ and that beat. And the third part of the song, even with added melody line, can't quite make it work for me. I think this is really the one song that I'm struggling to get into. I've been listening to it quite a lot. I'm like, yeah, it doesn't, I don't know. Not everything meshes well together on this one. Osora de Dakishimete was the first song released about over a year ago, and back then it felt like a nice breezy pop song, and honestly my opinion on it hasn't changed much. And it comes at a welcome time in the album, because especially after those two previous songs that were not as captivating for me, it feels like to get back to something I just enjoy a lot. Yunagi is another song amongst my favorites of this album. I love how there's a bit of a more raw aspect to it when it comes to the song making, and that especially at the beginning you can hear Hiki almost practicing or searching for a melody, and the fact that it was included in the song and actually became the song makes me feel like it's a very intimate thing to do. It's almost as if she's welcoming us into this more beta aspect of songwriting. And once the song gets going, I absolutely love the choruses. There are whispers, harmonies, and a very haunting piano melody. And of course, the good old breathing exercises of Hiki are back, and the bridge of the song brings us back to this more raw part of the song production. And I loved how repetitive and haunting the song gets at this specific instant, and then it keeps escalating with the harmonies, the violins, the drums, etc. And it really feels like a style exercise in songwriting, and I really love that. Finally, the last song of this album is Shito Sareru Beki Jinsei. That one is hard to pronounce. I apologize if it's not great on my hand. And this song is quite a song to end an album too, and I think it represents quite well what the album is all about. There's so much that gets into the songwriting and composing here, and it's very Hiki, isn't it? You get a very strong piano melody that is always memorable and guides you throughout the song. And then there's this mixture of electronic sounds and classical ones with the violins and the piano and some computer-generated sound effects, all together creating this song that feels fascinating to me. There's so much life that transpires through it, and after all, the song's title has the word life in it, Jinsei, so we're not that surprised really, but I think it's a perfect way to end the album. So now you have it, my thoughts on each and every song of Hatsukoi. It might not have been a total success for me, especially because two of the songs that don't work quite as well for me, I don't think I'm ever going to get that much into them. I mean, if I have to be honest, I love Boku Akuma on Heart Station, but it's not my favorite song of Hiki ever, obviously, because you gotta be in a certain, I feel like, state of mind when you do that. But I still had a blast with Hatsukoi, and that's why I give it 4 stars in my main review, because I enjoyed it a lot, you know. Out of 12 songs, there's only 2 that I don't enjoy that much. It's still like 10 songs that I really liked. And I'd love to know which songs are your favorites, so don't hesitate to tell me in the comment section down below, and I'll see you next time.